Section 21 of Astounding Stories, 06, June 1930. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Greg Giordano. Astounding Stories, 06, June 1930. The Reader's Corner, a meeting place for readers of Astounding Stories. The Reader's Corner. Second better than first. Dear Editor, the second number of Astounding Stories is better than the first. Spawn of the Stars by Charles Willard Diffin was the best story, closely followed by Creatures of the Light by Sophie Wenzel Ellis and The Beetle Horde by Victor Rousseau. I like stories of vibration as in Mad Music, and of acceleration as in The Thief of Time. I am glad to see Harl Vincent in the pages of Astounding Stories. I have read many good stories by him. Interplanetary stories are my favorites, and the more you have of them the better. I wish that you would put Astounding Stories out twice a month, or put out a quarterly containing twice as much reading material as the monthly. In this you could put one book-length novel and a few shorter stories. Are you going to start a department containing the reader's letters soon? Jack R. Darrow, 4225 North Spaulding Avenue, Chicago, Illinois. Size and Paper. Dear Editor, I certainly am glad to see your magazine appear on the newsstands. I also view with appreciation the fact that you have such brilliant authors as Harl Vincent and Captain S. P. Meek, USA, on your list of contributors. Your stories are of the very highest value in the line of science fiction. However, I did not like The Corpse on the Grating. It did not have an inkling of scientific background. I really am surprised it was published in a science fiction magazine. Aside from the fact that the idea of the story was merely a fantastical surmise, I was very favorably impressed with the author's style and his use of the English language. Why don't you try for some more of the works of the other well-known authors in this line of fiction? My main object in writing this letter was that I think you rubbed the name of science fiction in the dust by printing it on such paper and in such a small magazine. If you intend to compete with your several contemporaries, you will almost have to alter your size and quality of your paper. You might include a full-page illustration for each story also. But you will admit that to combat these other influential science fiction magazines, you will have to put your magazine on a par materially with the others in your line. I admire the type of stories which you publish and want to see your magazine get ahead. Warren Williams, 545 Dorchester, Chicago, Illinois. They Will. Dear Editor, I am a monthly reader of your Astounding Stories, and I am greatly interested in them. The best story I have so far read is Creatures of the Light. It is a story of super science indeed. If the author of this story would write more like it, I am sure they would be greatly appreciated. Here is hoping that more of their kind appear in the very near future. Yours for more good stories, Quentin Stockman, 245 Dixon Street, Portland, Oregon. Surpasses the First. Dear Editor, I have just finished the February issue of your magazine. It surpasses the first issue by far. I am glad to see that you have 8 stories in this issue. That is just enough. I like one serial, not too long, 1 or 2 novelettes, and 5 or 6 short stories in each issue. Tell Captain S. P. Meek to write more adventures of Dr. Bird. I have arranged the stories of the first 2 issues according to my own liking. Excellent. The Beetle Horde and Phantoms of Reality. Good. The Care of Horror. Tanks. And Invisible Death. Fair. The Stolen Mind and compensation. In the second issue, excellent, Creatures of the Light, Old Crompton's Secret, The Beetle Horde, and Spawn of the Stars. Good, The Thief of Time, and Mad Music. Fair, The Corpse on the Grating, and Into Space. I hope there will be more stories under excellent next month. Ward Elmore, 2012 Avenue J, Fort Madison, Iowa. Only One Trouble. Dear Editor, I have just finished reading your new magazine and think it's great. The only trouble with it is that it doesn't have enough stories. I liked Phantoms of Reality by Ray Cummings best, and The Cave of Horror by Captain S.P. Meek next best. The Beetle Horde and Tanks were also good. Ray Cummings and S.P. Meek are among my favorite science fiction authors. I like best interplanetary stories and stories of the aircraft of the future. I would like to see a good interplanetary story by R.H. Romans in this magazine pretty soon. Other good authors whose stories I would like to read are Dr. David H. Keller, Dr. Miles J. Brower, Lilith Lorraine, Ed Earl Repp, and Walter Cateley. In your editorial you mentioned the fact that someday in the future a person can disintegrate his body in New York and reintegrate it in China. I would like to see a good story about that by either Ray Cummings or S.P. Meek. Something else. Why not make your magazine a little bigger and include a scientific article or two once in a while? J. W. Latimer, 1000 East 8th Street, National City, California. No Horror Stories. Dear Editor, I am taking this opportunity to let you know what I think of Astounding Stories. The worst fault is the tendency to print terror stories. Please don't do this. If I never see another story like The Corpse on the Grating in your magazine, it will be too soon. Don't print so many detective stories. Captain Meek's splendid stories are plenty. Please start a discussion column and put Wesso's drawings inside the magazine, too. Are you planning on any reprints? I would like to see some reprints of Ray Cummings, A. Merritt's, H.G. Wells, Garrett Smith's, and George A. England's stories soon. Phantoms of Reality, The Beetle Horde, The Cave of Horror, Into Space, Creatures of the Light, and Old Crompton's Secret were splendid. I hope for fewer detective stories and no horror stories. Joe Stone, 123 20th Street, Toledo, Ohio. We liked it too. Dear Editor, just a line to tell you that I bought my first copy of Astounding Stories, and they certainly are good, especially Creatures of the Light by Sophie Wenzel Ellis. It's the best short story I've read in ages. I hope to read more by her in the future. Yours for success, F.J. Michaelslow, Battery D, Fort Hancock, New Jersey. Strikes a Mystic Chord. Dear Editor, I think that your Astounding Story magazine is a fine magazine. It seems to strike a mystic chord within me and makes me respond to it. One thing lacking, I believe, that is, a department for letters from your readers. Spawn of the Stars is certainly a fine scientific story. I wish that the author of Into Space would write a sequel to his story. Ronald Bainbridge, Rockford, Illinois. We're avoiding reprints. Dear Editor, I am writing again about Astounding Stories. It seems more people are interested in science today than ever before, and an easy and interesting way to gain this knowledge is through reading an entertaining science story. Regarding stories in your February issue, we'll list them according to my likes and dislikes. Into Space and Mad Music contained science maybe not impossible in the future. Spawn of the Stars, The Beetle Horde, Creatures of the Light, The Thief of Time, and Old Crompton's Secret were very interesting science and good reading, but The Corpse on the Grating did not appeal to me. I like interplanetary stories and stories of what might be on other planets. I notice some familiar names among your authors. Why not print some, not too many, stories from H.G. Wells, E.R. Burroughs, and Jules Verne? Some of their stories which were considered just wild dreams of the author at the time of writing have actually become a reality, as, for instance, The Submarine. If you keep on as you started or improve, I can see only success. C. E. Anderson, 3504 Colfax Avenue South, Minneapolis, Minnesota. A Few Favorites. Dear Editor, I am an electrical engineer. I read the last 2 issues of your magazine. I liked it very much. It is thrilling and very well edited. I will buy it regularly. I liked Invisible Death best. The Beetle Horde was good. Phantoms of Reality good. Into Space and Mad Music very good. Creatures of the Light, Old Crompton's Secret, and Spawn of the Stars good. Adolf Wasserrogel, Gedden Terrace, Waterbury, Connecticut. Going Some. Dear Editor, I purchased one of your magazines when I first saw them. I always had a liking for super science stories, but your magazine was the best I ever got hold of. Thought I could never wait until the next issue to finish The Beetle Horde. I believe The Cave of Horror was the best story in that issue. It really seemed as if it could be true. Due respect must be paid to the author of The Corpse on the Grating, for it was exciting and fantastic. Phantoms of Reality was good. All the stories in the second magazine seemed as good as the best of the first number, and that's going some. May you succeed in getting the same good and better stories as you have in the first 2 issues of a magazine that I am sure will grow to fame. Harold Rakestraw, Box 25, Winthrop, Washington. We Intend To. Dear Editor, having read the first 2 issues of your new magazine, I find it has a larger variety of stories than any of the other science fiction magazines now found on the newsstands. Why not keep it that way? It will be unique. Mr. Wesolowski, your artist, is great. He is one who can draw when it comes to a good scientific background. I consider Tanks your best story as yet, with Spawn of the Stars close behind. Invisible Death, Creatures of the Light, and Mad Music were also good. Try to give us some stories by Edgar Rice Burroughs and A. Merritt. Did not think much of The Beetle Horde. Too many like it. Ted Shatkowski, 812 Hoffman Street, Hammond, Indiana. Some good suggestions. Dear Editor, I received the pleasure of purchasing a copy of Astounding Stories the other day. The first copy I have seen. I have not yet read it, but I am unable to wait that long to inform you of my great joy in greeting a new magazine of this type. I am a reader of other magazines similar to A.S. Stories, of Harl Vincent, Captain S.P. Meek, Murray Leinster, and others appear in these magazines, also, so I am familiar with your authors. But you have asked me what sort of stories I'd like to see in A.S., so here goes. First of all, I would earnestly beg you not to print such stories as those that deal with ghosts, etc., because in my opinion there are far too many good stories available to cast them aside for trash. The type of story I prefer is the kind that is fanciful, odd, and interesting. Some tales deal with a new invention of some sort, but contain no action or plot. However, I fail to see any like that in the present A.S., unless it's Mad Music. A few utterly impossible stories are so interestingly told that it is worth while to publish them. Some examples are stories by A. Merritt, whose stories are the most fascinating I have ever read, H.P. Lovecraft, master of the bizarre and the grotesque, and G.A. England. My letter seems to be mostly composed of suggestions, but that is only because I am interested in anything pertaining to stories of imagination, or science fiction, as it is called. However, Astounding Stories seems to be very satisfying to me. I am glad that you have Wesolowski on your artist's staff. I hope that you will have a story contest sometime in the future, as they are very interesting, and often uncover hitherto unknown talent in the contestants. I sincerely wish you the utmost of success in Astounding Stories, and hope that it will live a long, enduring life. I hope, as time goes on, you will favor us with more illustrations, for this type of story needs a large amount of drawings, so that the readers won't overwork their imaginations. Astounding Stories seems to be very shy, for I heard of it from a friend and got the February 1930 issue only after an exhaustive search. The place where I got it appears to be about the only one in town selling it. I hope more stores will handle your great magazine. I didn't intend the word great magazine to be sarcastic. I really think it's great. I hope you will have a department in which the readers may discuss the merits or lacks of stories published, or at least print excerpts now and then. Enclosed find 20 cents in stamps, for which please send me the first issue. A. W. Bernal, 1374 East 32nd Street, Oakland, California. Stories I Like Best. Dear Editor, the stories I like best in your Astounding Stories of Super Science were The Beetle Horde by Victor Rousseau, The Cave of Horror by Captain S.P. Meek, Compensation by C.V. Tench, Invisible Death by Anthony Pelcher. I have just bought your second copy of Astounding Stories. I like the book very much and expect to buy it every month. Isaac Dorkowitz, 1262 Valentine Avenue, Bronx, New York. Just What is Needed. Dear Editor, I have read the first 2 copies of your new magazine, and I would like to make a few comments and criticisms. This magazine is very popular in my community, and is just what is needed to instill scientific interest in the mind of the general public. Science fiction will arouse more interest, and will be read by more people than any amount of dry science and cold facts. Since you would like to have a reader's opinion, I will say that The Beetle Horde is the best story that I have read in a long time, and was based on the most excellent science. The Thief of Time was good. Try to get some more stories by Captain S.P. Meek. 1 in every copy would not be too many. I could not get all het up over Spawn of the Stars. It was a little vague. I do not think the author had a very distinct idea about the nature of the invaders. The stories do not have to stick to cold science, but should not violate an established fact without a reasonable explanation, as this might cause a mistaken idea in the minds of the readers. A few good authors are Dr. Keller, A. Hyatt Verrill, Walter Catley, and R. H. Romans. Wayne Bray, Campbell, Missouri. Literature that typifies New Age. Dear Editor, as a member of an organization whose existence was founded through the medium of science fiction, I have watched your magazine closely, and here are the results. It is all science fiction, virile, interesting, and new. A popular edition of these stories with the name of a great publishing house behind it. The authors you have acquired are supreme in this field. Ray Cummings and Captain Meek need no introduction, and Harl Vincent is a notable addition whose stories of indefinite extension and interplanetary travel are well known to science fiction fans. Science fiction, first introduced by Verne, Poe, Wells, Haggard, and other old masters in this line, is a type of literature that typifies the new age to come, the age of science. And, in conclusion, may I say that the Science Correspondence Club extends to your new and most acceptable publication heartiest wishes for continued and increasing success. I subscribe myself to the advancement of science and science fiction. Walter P. Dennis, FPS, 4653 Addison Street, Chicago, Illinois. Keep up the good work. Dear Editor, I have just completed the perusal of the first issue of Astounding Stories, and am immensely pleased. I am a high school senior, and though have only a rudimentary knowledge of science, the subject impresses me, and I am eager to gain new facts and food for thought. I compliment you on securing the services of such writers of scientification as Ray Cummings, Harl Vincent, R.F. Starzl. They are good. Ray Cummings' impressive style, his vivid imagination, and his knowledge of his subject seem to me invincible. His stories are always welcome. Now, concerning the services of other writers of science fiction, I think the majority of the readers will be well pleased with the following list: Edgar Rice Burroughs, A. Hyatt Verrill, H. G. Wells, David H. Keller, Otis Adelbert Klein, and Stanton Coblentz. The above mentioned, I am sure, would greatly please your readers. I believe it would greatly improve the circulation of your magazine to try to secure the services of such writers, especially E. R. Burroughs. I am greatly interested in the future of your magazine, and wish it every bit of luck in the world. You have made an astounding start. Keep up the good work. A. G. Jowett, Jr., 132 Murdoch Avenue, Asheville, North Carolina. The Reader's Corner. All readers are extended a sincere and cordial invitation to come over in the Reader's Corner and join in our monthly discussion of stories, authors, scientific principles and possibilities, everything that's of common interest in connection with our astounding stories. Although from time to time the editor may make a comment or so, this is a department primarily for readers, and we want you to make full use of it. Likes, dislikes, criticisms, explanations, roses, brickbats, suggestions, everything is welcome here, so come over in the Reader's Corner and discuss it with all of us. The Editor. End of Section 21, The Reader's Corner. Recording by Greg Giordano, Newport Richey, Florida. End of Astounding Stories, 06 June 1930.